Hey guys, it's Danielle, the 7-figure nurse investor, where you get to come with me on my journey to 7 figures and beyond. So today we're going to talk about Roth IRAs. Now, Roth IRAs are a type of individual retirement accounts that allows for tax-free growth and withdrawals. And this is done using post-tax money. So today we're going to examine the different types of Roth IRAs, the limitations, as well as the benefits of a Roth IRA, and what my strategy for my Roth IRA is going to be. There are 3 different types of Roth accounts. The first one is a Roth 401k. I spoke a lot about Roth 401ks in my video all about IRAs, so if you'd like to know more about Roth 401ks, you can go ahead and watch that video. But just a brief synopsis of Roth 401ks. Roth 401ks go by the same rules as regular 401k, with the $19,500 maximum contribution for 2020, which is much different than the other type of Roth accounts. And just like the other type of Roth accounts, your growths are tax-free as well as your withdrawals. The second type of Roth accounts are Roth IRA for kids. Now that's right, you can have an IRA account for a child younger than 18 years of age, even as young as 1 or 2 years old. There are certain stipulations for Roth IRAs for kids, in that the maximum contribution is either $6,000 for 2020 or the maximum earned income of that child. So if your earned income is $3,000, your maximum contribution for 2020 can only be $3,000. It's either $6,000 or maximum earned income, whichever is less. How Roth IRAs work for kids is that you can take your earned income and you can put it in an IRA account for a child, and it is manned or managed by an adult. At whatever the stipulated age by your state, the money is then turned over to your child. However, if you're applying for FAFSA, this can have some limitations. So you should look into what limitations there might be if you think you're going to be a candidate for FAFSA. Now, as far as when a child can start getting withdrawals without any tax penalty, it's just like a regular 401k, in which you can start to take withdrawals at 59 and a half without incurring any penalties. However, you'll be eligible to withdraw your contributions before 59 and a half without any penalties. The next kind of Roth IRA is a regular Roth IRA, in which that individual sets up for themselves through whichever brokerage account they choose. With this Roth IRA, you have the same contribution limitations as the Roth IRA for children, in which you have $6,000 contribution limitations. However, if you're 50 or older, you get an extra $1,000 to equal $7,000 contribution for the year 2020. Just like the other Roths, you also have post-tax money, which is contributed to the retirement account, and then that money, as far as the growth and withdrawals, are all tax-free. So the major takeaway with all Roth accounts is that the growth and withdrawals are all tax-free. However, you are used post-tax money, so you can only be taxed on the money once. That's why your withdrawals and your growths are all tax-free, because you've already been taxed on the money before you contributed to the IRA account. That goes for the 401k, the Roth for kids, and the regular Roth IRA, in which an individual sets up for themselves. Now, the major benefit for a Roth IRA is that your growth and your withdrawals are all tax-free. So let's say you start an IRA or Roth IRA when you're 15 years old, and you've invested well until the time that you're 60. All the growth in that account is all tax-free upon withdrawal. So if you waited until you're 60, 59 and a half, and you're ready to withdraw that money, and you've amassed a total of $5 million in that account, every single penny that we withdraw from this account is all tax-free. Another major benefit is that in regular retirement accounts, you'll have to take withdrawals by the time you're 70. However, with a Roth, You do not have to take withdrawals at all. Now, the minimum time that you can start to take withdrawals is 59 and a half. However, if you never have to touch a Roth IRA because you're fortunate enough to have amassed savings in other accounts, then you never have to withdraw or have any minimum required withdrawal for a Roth IRA, and then you can roll it over to your children, to your nieces, nephews, whoever you choose to roll it over to. With most other IRAs, you'll have to withdraw at 70, and you'll have to start to make some type of withdrawals at 70. It is mandatory. A major limitation to the Roth is the contribution maximum. The contribution max for 2020 is $6,000, $7,000 if you're over 50. The next drawback to the Roth is that it is all based on your income. So if you're a high income earner, you're unfortunately phased out into contributing into a Roth. However, there is a trick into doing a Roth conversion even though you're a high income earner. To complete this conversion, which is called a backdoor Roth or a Roth conversion, you would have to deposit the money into a traditional account and then transfer it into a Roth. So you'd have to have both a traditional and a Roth account, both with the same brokerage company, and then you would deposit the money into the traditional and then transfer it to the Roth. You've already used post-tax money to do this deposit, so you don't have to worry about getting taxed again. And there's the same contribution limit for both the traditional and the Roth of $6,000, $7,000 if you're 50 or over. But because we're not wanting to deposit it into the traditional, we can put it into the Roth, and it's $6,000 for either one. So it's not $6,000 per account, $6,000 traditional, $6,000 Roth. It's only $6,000 in one, and we want to put it in the Roth, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, the income level in which you'd have to employ the backdoor Roth or the Roth conversion is $139,000 for a single individual and $206,000 for those that are married. Now, I just want to take a couple moments to talk about my strategy for a Roth. So my strategy is to have growth companies, growth funds into the account, and also having dividend stocks and dividend mutual and high dividend mutual funds or index funds into the account. Since all the growths and withdrawals are tax-free, this will lower my tax burden, and also the entire account value is going to be mine, not worried about any kind of taxes being assessed upon withdrawals. So as much as I can amass in this Roth account before I start getting any type of withdrawals or distributions, will be my strategy. And the best strategy is to use growth stocks, growth funds, whether it be mutual funds or index funds, and also dividend stocks and dividend funds, which will be either mutual funds or index funds. So I hope you learned something about Roth IRAs from this video, and I hope you use this information to establish a Roth IRA for yourself and your kids if you have any, and also find out more if you have a Roth 401k available to you. Well, that's all for now. Thank you so much for stopping by, and until next time, see ya.